It was supposed to be an ordinary Saturday evening, the kind that wraps you in routine comfort. The smell of dinner still lingered in the air, and the quiet hush of home sure felt reassuring. But that night didn't follow the script. Everything shifted. I had left work early, something I rarely did, but I didn't think much of it. When I arrived at the apartment, I noticed the door slightly ajar. I didn't stop. I figured maybe I'd forgotten to shut it properly on my way out. But then I heard voices, low, intimate whispers, and just before I stepped inside, the scent of her perfume hit me, the one I used to adore. Now it felt distant, unfamiliar. I pushed the door open. There they were on the couch, her fingers buried in his hair, her body curved toward him in a way I once believed was meant only for me. My heart thudded violently in my chest, and for a moment, everything else around me fell away. The only thing I could hear was my breath, sharp and shaky. I didn't move. I couldn't. They hadn't seen me, but I saw it all. The intimacy, the desire, the betrayal. And in that instant, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I didn't scream. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse or demand answers. I simply turned around and walked out. I didn't grab my things. I didn't create a scene. I just left quietly. The next morning, I filed for divorce. No spectacle, no drawn-out drama. I erased her from my life like cleaning a slate. Her phone number, her social media, our photos, gone. But it wasn't the silence that hurt the most. It was the emptiness where love used to be. The early days were brutal. Sleepless nights filled with questions, rage, confusion. I scrutinized everything, every promise, every moment we'd shared. I wondered if any of it had been real. But time, as it always does, moved forward. Days stretched into weeks. Weeks bled into months. And then, somehow, a year had passed. The pain dulled. The fog lifted. It started to feel like something that had happened to someone else. I filled the silence with work, distractions, hobbies, anything to replace the void she left behind. I thought I was healing. Maybe I was. But deep down, a small part of me still asked, what if? I never expected to see her again. And truthfully, I didn't want to. I thought I had closed that chapter for good. But then, one evening, I was walking home after work. Just another ordinary day. And there she was, standing under a street lamp in front of my building. Smaller than I remembered. Fragile. I froze. My heart skipped. My mind told me to keep walking. So I did, but then I heard her voice. "Hey," she called softly, her voice trembling. "I've been trying to find you." I stopped. That voice, so achingly familiar, hit me like a wave. I didn't respond. I didn't even know what to say. Part of me wanted to keep walking, to leave her behind like a memory, but something held me still. She waited, watching, hoping I'd respond. The silence between us heavy with everything unspoken. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice stiff foreign. "I need to talk to you." "Please," she said, desperate. "I know I messed up. I need to explain." I wasn't sure what she could say that would matter anymore. She had made her decision. So had I. But something in me wanted to understand. To close the door properly this time. We found a quiet cafe nearby. One we used to visit when things were still good. She looked different, not just in appearance. In energy, she was changed. "I made a mistake," she began, barely audible. "I thought I could have both you and him. I believed I could juggle it all. But I was wrong." I said nothing, just listened. Her hands shook as she spoke. Her eyes were filled with something deeper than regret, something raw. "I tried living two lives," she admitted, "but it fell apart. And now I've lost everything. I lost you. I wanted to be angry, to lash out, to let her feel even a sliver of the pain she left me with. But all I felt was exhaustion, a deep, bone-level weariness. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," she said, a tear slipping down her cheek. "But I miss you. I miss what we had." For a heartbeat, I almost believed her. Almost. Why now? I asked, after all this time, why show up now? She hesitated, searching for the words. Because the life I chose, it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I thought I'd be happy, but I wasn't. And it hit me. What I had with you was real. And I ruined it. Her words hung in the air, heavy and familiar. I'd heard them before, wrapped in apologies, dressed in regret. But they couldn't undo what had been done. You made your choice, I said calmly. And so did I. She looked stunned, as if she hadn't expected me to be so steady. I know, she whispered. That's the worst part. I didn't understand then that some things, once broken, can be fixed. Not really. I stood, looked at her one last time. I'm not the same person I was back then, I said, and I can't let you back in. Not after everything. I turned to go, but she grabbed my sleeve, pleading. Please, she begged. I've changed. I've learned. I faced her again, the woman I had once loved, but she was no longer that person to me. Not anymore. Take care of yourself, I said, gently but firmly, but I'm not your backup plan. And I walked away, out of the cafe, and out of her life for good. She hadn't come back because she loved me. She came back because what she chased fell apart. That truth was hard to face, but I had to. She made her choice a long time ago. And now, finally, so had I. As I walked into the night, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Peace. A year had passed, and with each step, I felt lighter. The burden I had carried for so long finally slipped from my shoulders. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I had learned to love myself again. And sometimes, that's the only forgiveness you ever really need.